Because the truth is all of these feelings, all of these thoughts, they're just comes from different people in different seasons with different thoughts. They change from moment to moment. And really, you have the power to just let them all go.
Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Entering Motherhood, a podcast dedicated specifically to new moms going through this amazing journey in life. I'm your host, Sarah Bilger, a postpartum nutritional coach / mechanical engineer. And as always, I'm so excited to be here with you and share all of the information I've been lucky enough to obtain since becoming a mom. In today's episode, we talk with Toby Pollack about clearing the mental noise in motherhood and her own personal words of advice for what she wished she knew when she first became a mom. Welcome to Entering Motherhood, and we are so happy to have you here. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really just honored and excited to be here. My name is Toby Pollack, and I am a wife. I am a mom of two little girls, Minnie and Rosie. I'm a psych nurse, and I have a business that I just launched. And it's a community to support moms to clear like the mental noise and all the chaos that goes on in our lives, just to be supported and build strong foundations in mental wellness so that they can truly show up well for their lives. Because I really believe that the quality of a person's life is directly related to the strength of their mental wellness. And it's been kind of my journey to strengthen my mental wellness over the past several years. And so I've learned so much, and I really want to teach that and give that to others so they can really just live a life that they love. So that's kind of what I do and who I am, um, in a nutshell.
That's amazing. That is so needed right now. And I love how you said the quality of life is related to mental wellness and just, sticking with that clear mindset, like that can really affect what's going on in your life. So I think especially, working with moms and clearing that mental noise, as you said it, is amazing. And I love that your daughter's name is Rosie.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that you also have a Rosie. I just think that's so adorable. I love it so much. It makes me smile. Can you hear me smiling over the microphone?
Yes.
You can? Good. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, what do you have prepared for us today? What are some things that you would like to talk about, or some things that you have on your mind that we could learn from?
Okay. So, basically, I will tell you kind of how I landed up doing this, how I landed up as a psych nurse, because people so often ask me, like, well, how did you become a psych nurse? Like, that's super interesting and kind of scary. And what does that even mean? And what do you do? And who's on the psych unit? And there's so many like questions about it. And the truth is that when I was in nursing school, I had no idea what kind of nurse I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a pediatric nurse because I have 9 younger siblings. I'm the oldest of 10. And I just was like, I want to just take care of kids. I love kids. I love caring for people. And then I did my pediatric rotation in a hospital, and the nurses were so mean. So I was like, I do not want to be a pediatric nurse at all. Like, that's not for me. So I finished nursing school, and I was like, yeah, I don't really know what I want to do. And I landed up on a cardiology unit because I did my preceptorship there, and then they hired me right away. So that worked out, and I was there for 9 months. Well, I graduated like 2 months after I got married. And then basically 2 months after I got married, I got pregnant. And so I started like a new job when I was a few months pregnant. And then about 6 months into my job, which was a midnight shift, I had a baby. And my manager was like not very accommodating. And I came back to work right away. So at like 6 weeks later, or even 5 weeks later. And I know there was a whole bunch of laws that I totally think she broke, but too late to cry about it now. So it was about when my baby was, yeah, about 5 weeks old. I went back to work, and I was doing midnight shifts, and I was doing 4 midnight shifts a week. Mind you, I had a brand new baby, a brand new marriage, and I was doing these 4 midnight shifts a week, and I was not managing. And I never saw my daughter. She was always at my mom's house. My husband was like, "Who are you? Are we married? What is this? Like, who is this kid? She's never at our house." It was very like frustrating. It was very painful. It was just really, my marriage was falling apart. I was never with my daughter because I was either at work or sleeping and then going right back to work. It was very like chaotic, really dysfunctional. It was no way to live. And so when she was about, I don't know, maybe 3 months old, I put in my notice, which my nursing manager said, "Well, you wrote the wrong day on your resignation, so I'm not going to accept your resignation." I had put the wrong date by accident. So she gave me my resignation back and basically told me that I couldn't resign. So I was
So
like,
you wrote the wrong date, like, up at the top or
yeah,
so like
and
like,
exactly
on the letter,
on the
and
letter.
then they said that they're just going to void it
Right,
because
because it
was
was
it
the wrong
was it
date.
a prior date or a later
I don't
date?
even know.
I don't
I don't even know. All I know is that she's like, "Well, you have the wrong date, so I'm gonna just give the resignation back to you." I'm like, "What?" I was so confused. I was like, "I think that's totally illegal to not accept a resignation. Who cares what date is on there?"
I
Seriously.
feel like I'd just scratch it off and hand it right
I
back.
think I just went to the computer and printed a new one.
Yeah.
So that was that. And then I needed a day shift position because I knew that night shift was totally crushing my soul and my marriage. And so I knew that psych nurses are in high demand because who wants to be a psych nurse? So you can always find day shift jobs for psych nursing because a night shift job is much harder. A day shift job on a medical unit is much harder to come by unless they're really short staffed, which in that case, you probably don't want to work on that unit. Um, so I knew I could get a job in a psych unit. And at the same time, I thought, well, maybe I'll get an advanced degree in psych nursing. So I got a job right away on a psych unit. And that is how I ended up in psych. I didn't really have at the time like a huge passion for psych at all. It was just kind of where I landed up. But as ironic as it is, my psych story kind of started out a lot earlier than that. When I was in nursing school, um, we were taking the mental health class, and like I totally didn't relate from a personal perspective to any of the discussions surrounding mental illness. Not the depression, not the anxiety, not any of them. They just totally did not connect with me personally. I had never experienced it. It wasn't something I was familiar with. And I just took the information in from like a clinical perspective. Fast forward a couple semesters, and I found myself not eating, not sleeping, and not taking care of myself whatsoever. I literally ate probably Reese's Cups and coffee every single day for breakfast and lunch, and for dinner, I had ice cream. I would barely sleep during the night, and I would wake up and do the same thing all over again for months. And nursing school is really intense. And I feel so lucky that I was totally single and didn't have any kids because I did not understand how any of my friends did it with kids. It just seemed impossible. I think they just didn't study as much. I think that's what it was. And like several months into nursing school, I found out the hard way that I could not survive that way. And I just fell into a tremendous depression. I was anxious all the time. I was basically non functional and I just couldn't take care of myself. I was totally, my brain was mush, couldn't remember things, I couldn't think about anything. It's a miracle that I passed nursing school. I don't know how. Um, but that was really my first introduction to dealing with mental illness when I was diagnosed with, major depression and generalized anxiety disorder. Looking back, I definitely had like the precursors to anxiety, which is still something that I deal with today. So it's not like it came out of nowhere, but not taking care of my body, not taking care of my mind, not eating well, not sleeping, not having any friends or social support because I was so like invested in nursing school, it just really sucked me dry and I was left with nothing but tons of anxiety and depression. And I was just in such a rut. Couldn't get out of it. And so that led me to therapy, which I'm a huge fan of. I've been in therapy in one, form or another for the past 5 years, and it's just been such a blessing. So that's kind of how I landed up, you know, s- in psych nursing and then starting a business to support moms create strong foundations in mental wellness. Because for the past 5 years, since I've kind of been through that like major um, struggle, you could say, I've like learned and studied for hundreds, if not thousands of hours, ways to strengthen your mental wellness. And here I am today. And I can say with like complete honesty, it's not like braggy, it's not for show. I really love the life that I've built for myself. I really love the life that I have right now. And it wasn't built alone. I did it with so many other people along with me, but I have developed and I've learned and I've tweaked so many different techniques over the last 5 years to truly develop like a holistic approach, because so often we, people go to therapy or they take medication or they see a psychiatrist and it's like, well, here's a medication, here's some Prozac, here's some Lexapro. Oh, take some Celexa. Oh, you can't sleep. Here's some sleeping meds, trazodone or over the counter Benadryl, or take whatever you can get your hands on. It's just a band aid, really. Those things are helpful. I've been on antidepressants before. They're very, very helpful. They can literally be the make it or break it when someone's in the depths of struggle. I highly recommend them to people who need them. But if we only look at the biological makeup of someone's brain, the thing that antidepressants help, then we're missing the other things that contribute to feeling mentally unwell, whether it's a complicated marriage, difficult children, a stressful schooling environment, financial distress. All of these things have significant impact on our mental wellness, and when we completely ignore them and all we give it is a pill, it doesn't really solve the problem. And so what I'm so passionate about doing for women, especially moms, is to teach them all of these components of like a holistic approach of the mind and body and spirit that contribute to being mentally strong. I feel like I just talked for so long. I'll let you
I
talk.
love it. I am just eating it all up and resonating with all of it. Like honestly, like what you're saying and like you said, medication is great. It's fine if that's what you need, but looking at the bigger picture and trying to do it on a case by case evaluation and really looking at that person's life and saying, what's going on here and how can we fix it maybe in small ways without jumping to the one pill fits all kind of situation, I think is amazing. And I think it's something that like, we as moms need to like stand up for and really fight for and let other people know that, there's more to it.
Absolutely. I love that you said there's more to it. There absolutely is more to it. I think that also there's so much stigma around therapy, and because people think that like therapy means you just can't hack it, you just can't do it. So that's it, you need therapy. And like therapy can be so instrumental into getting your life in its highest, like most quality form. And I think that when somebody actually does get a good therapist that fits well with them, they can begin to like appropriately assess the different areas of their life that could use improvement, but they don't need therapy to do that. And that's what people don't realize is you don't need therapy to feel better. You could use therapy. It's tremendously influential and helpful, but when we forget about this holistic approach to mental wellness, when we think of it, well, if you're having issues with your, mental health, go to a psychiatrist. My dream, for example, when someone, God forbid, is diagnosed with cancer, what do they get? A whole team of people supporting their needs: a social worker, a therapist, maybe even a psychiatrist, a nutritionist, a surgeon, a radiologist, right? There's even respite care for their family. There's like an entire team of people rallying around them to support the different facets of their life as they walk this journey through cancer. When someone's diagnosed with postpartum depression, they get Prozac. No one rallies around them. You're lucky if they get Prozac. Maybe they get Meals on Wheels for 2 weeks after they give birth.
And that's even after they go find the help and admit or realize that this is what they're struggling with.
Absolutely. I mean, people don't talk about this stuff often enough. So most of the time, I just talked to a friend yesterday and she said she was so struggling after she gave birth. And when her baby was about 10 months old, a friend said, "Well, this is motherhood. I mean, soon it'll all be over and your kids will be big and you'll just move on." And she was like, "That was
Ah,
the worst advice ever. This
I
is not
know, I know.
motherhood. This is no, that's totally wrong." And these things, whether they require medication or they don't require medication, deserve to be like paid attention to, deserve to be addressed, deserve to be put front and center. It matters. The mental wellness of a mom truly matters. It matters to her general well being, obviously. It also matters to the overall success of her home, of her life, of her family, of her marriage, of the general status of her job and her finances, and all the things that are in motion in her life. It's not to be underestimated.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that is just something like you said with, was it your friend that, this is not something that like, I think so many people I hear this so often that it's just like, "Oh, that's what happens when you become a mom. That's just what, it's the way of motherhood," and I'm like, I think ever since my daughter was born and I started hearing those words, I've been fighting for, like, no, like, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be those things. Like, if you feel sad, like, that's okay, acknowledge it, but then, like, learn what can I do to make it better and to empower myself, because we don't have to be stuck in this like, "Oh, I'm just a mom now and like I just have to like deal with my kids until they grow up and that's just going to happen." Like, I want moms to enjoy every single second of being a mom and to like uncover that this is such a new and beautiful experience that's happening to us. So it's so amazing hearing that more people are kind of like gathering around that thought.
Absolutely. Related to that, I have kind of gathered things that I wish that people would have told me before I gave birth. So, like after I gave birth for the first time, I like experienced so many things that I was not expecting. And then especially even after the second birth, I was like, how come nobody told me this? And I just like chose a couple things that I would love to share that I feel like I wish somebody would have told me. And the first thing I want to say, it kind of relates to the last thing you said, is that people don't talk about the postpartum depression or people don't talk about the sadness and people don't talk about postpartum anxiety either. And it's like this thing that like, oh, if you're anxious, it means you're nervous, it means you're like totally neurotic. And anxiety is a real thing. It sometimes takes the form of many different things, and why it's sometimes hard to spot. It could be that, anxiety could come up in the form of like excessive worry about health or, just constantly like panicking that you forgot something. It could come up as in just like general irritability or feelings like you just can't ever get anything done ever, and then your life's going to fall apart, like kind of these catastrophic, overwhelming, exaggerating thoughts. These are all really common symptoms of anxiety, and so often they're just pushed under as like, well, yeah, that's just how it is, you're just like a little crazy. And I think if we recognize it, it can be empowering to notice that this is what you're experiencing and it's called anxiety, and there are things that you can do and tools that you can learn to help you work through that so it doesn't have to own your mind and run your life. And based off of that thought, one of the first things that I wish people would have told me is that not to let anybody tell me what motherhood is supposed to look like. It's so easy to go on social media or to look at our neighbors and friends and see through their windows or through our phones, this is what motherhood is. it's fancy balloons and cute parties and smash cakes, and it all looks so cute. But they'll also tell you that it's like impossible and traumatic, and just, you just don't sleep ever, and you can't wait for them to get big. And it's so like such polar opposites, and you never know, like, what is it supposed to be, this is it supposed to be that. And I just wish that, like, I could tell people, don't let other people tell you what motherhood is supposed to be, because they want to tell you it's beautiful, it's exhausting, it's depleting, it's a total disaster. There's no time for you. You're going to be sleepless. It's extremely difficult. You're making a huge sacrifice. Oh, but it's so fulfilling, and there's abundance of love all the time, just hearts and roses everywhere. They're going to tell you it's like chaotic, and they're just tell you so many things, and it's coming at you. There's constant spaghetti in your hair, or maybe you made a mistake, or you're full of anxiety and guilt. You're going to lose your purpose. You gain your purpose. This is the ultimate womanhood. It's like so confusing, and it's like, don't stop letting people tell you what motherhood is or should look like. The only person that gets to define that for you is you. Because the truth is all of these feelings, all of these thoughts, they're just comes from different people in different seasons with different thoughts. They change from moment to moment, and really you have the power to just let them all go, right? Like, you don't have to keep them for yourself. The only ones that you should keep for yourself are the ones that you relate to in this moment. And I think we have to stop letting other people tell us what life is. It's what we say it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That is just something that, I've learned and I've talked to other moms about. And, just having that filter and being able to distinguish between information that you appreciate and like and information that you don't have to listen to. It's just they're words that other people are saying, but you get to decide if it's what you want to incorporate into your life or not. You don't have to take it as fact. They're just other people's words. So, having that ability to be able to interpret that for yourself and go through that and be like, "Hey, they said it was going to be miserable, but this isn't miserable." That's unique to you as a mom, and I think that's just something that we need to evaluate more on every individual situation. And I only have one daughter, just Rosie, but I know going into the next one, I'm not going to expect everything to be exactly the same because every kid is different and every time it's different. So, just preparing myself for change, I think has been a huge help.
Absolutely. I remember when my second daughter Rosie was born, and you know how you expect it to be this like magical time. It's like so beautiful, and you connect with your baby so well, and it's just so magical, right? Like, that's the word that people use around it. And I think the reality is, for so many people it is magical, and for so many people it isn't magical. And after I had my second baby, I had a C-section because at the last minute she turned breech. And by last minute, I mean at 41 weeks, she turned breech. And I had to have a C section. And I remember distinctly saying to my baby, when my baby was about 7 days old, was the first time I said, "I love you." And I felt it in my heart. And that was the moment that I realized we have to stop telling moms what, like, your birth is supposed to look like, or how you're supposed to feel around your baby. That's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my baby. And sometimes it just takes a minute to connect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because my birth, well, my daughter's birth resulted in a C-section as well. I was in labor for over 24 hours, and then I elected to get a C-section. And, it was difficult because I did go into it thinking, oh, this is going to be magical and wonderful. Like, I wanted a completely unmedicated birth. I knew I was going to be at the hospital, but I was like, oh, yeah, like nothing. Like, things change. And immediately afterwards, I was kind of, disappointed. And like, it is what it is, and it
That's
was
such
what
a
it
normal
was.
feeling, though.
Yeah, but then, those outside perspectives were coming at me. And I was starting to feel okay with it. And, I did what I felt confident in doing. I fully made the decision. I wasn't rushed. I wasn't told I had to do it. So I still felt completely empowered in my choice. And then to hear other people say, like, oh my gosh, like that must have been horrible. I can't believe like they made you get a C-section, or like, like what was that like? That wasn't what you wanted. And
Oh,
it's
it
like,
messes with your mind. It
oh,
totally does. And then you start to question your own sanity. Like, did I make the right choice? Didn't like what does it matter at this point, right?
right.
Like, oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
that happened.
I know, and I went back and forth kind of with, like, this whole, like, "Well, did I really make the right choice? Did I give up?" Like, I thought, I gave up. I gave up on my baby. I didn't give her the birth that she deserved, and, I've just come to the realization of what happened, happened, and we have to progress from that point, and, she's here, and everything worked out the way that it was supposed to. So I can't go back and change those things, and I don't want to, because if I did, who knows what would have happened, and it's not up to me to figure that out.
Exactly. I love that perspective. It's not up to me to figure out what could have happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So much freedom and letting go, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's something that, like, I feel like I had to kind of just learn quickly. And since I've done that, it's just been so much easier to process and be okay with, and no matter what, it is what it is. So,
Yeah, like you, I had anticipated with Rosie to have like a more unmedicated birth because with Minnie, my older daughter, I was very medicated and it didn't go as I had anticipated in terms of the medication or how the birth went. And I just ended up with like a prolapsed bladder because of all the pushing that I didn't do well and, a third degree tear. And it was just a hot mess. And so I was like, I wanted to be much different for my next birth. Well, turns out I had a C-section. And then there was so much like, when people said, oh, like, when did you give birth? And I would say to myself, well, I didn't really give birth. I had a C-section. It messed with my head because of what people tell you about what real
yeah.
birth is or what a natural birth is. And it's like,
Yep.
dude, I totally gave birth, you
Yeah. Like
know?
a baby came out of my body.
Exactly. And I
It
think it's just this
happened.
idea that, like, yeah, like we're so influenced by what other people tell us is normal that it really messes with our ability to process our own experiences in a healthy, balanced way.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like until you go through a situation, you don't have any voice in the matter, because like you said, like, when, or even you don't have the magnitude of understanding what it was like for that person to go through that. Like, there's still so much that I can't even begin to imagine what other people have dealt with, because I haven't gone through that, and I can see that now. Like, if I don't have that personal experience, I can relate, I can feel empathy for them, like, compassion, but like, I don't know what it's like for them. Just like, if you haven't been through that situation, like, you don't know what it's like. And how you were saying, back when you were in school and you were learning about depression and anxiety, and how it wasn't really relevant to you because you couldn't relate. So you had a completely different perspective of what it was like to be depressed or have anxiety before. And then after going through it, you get that, new set of eyes, that new lens that you can now be like, oh, whoa, like, actually, like, this is different.
Exactly. It's like
So,
a whole new light, a whole new understanding.
yeah. So I think that's just something that I'm learning and trying to, like, incorporate into my realization with people, that you don't know what's going through their head, and you can only just be that space for them to kind of listen to. So,
Yeah, there's so much power, especially in motherhood, for just to be like a really good listener for your other mom friends. It really goes a long way.
So, what else are some things that you wish that you knew?
Okay, so this next one I'm like super passionate about because when I was pregnant and had given birth, I was being inundated with an insane amount of targeted Facebook ads. So if you're on Facebook and you have a baby, you might experience the worst amount of Facebook ads on the planet. And they
What kind
and
of
they
ads were you getting?
okay, this is what I'll tell you. This is the ads. They promise you the most beautiful motherhood if you just bought this thing, right? Your breastfeeding journey will be transformed with this new bottle. You'll never have pain again when you use this. Or, take the thinking out of it if you buy all this for $1 million. Or is your baby fussy? This will cure him. You'll be the best mother if you give your baby this. Or your baby's getting too much bacteria. Save her from disease with this new pacifier. Literally, nonstop. Water isn't good enough to heat your bottle. Buy this warm up water bottle, right? All that baby weight, watch it melt away with this new program or smoothie or protein bar or meditation. Are you exhausted? You'll never be tired again with this new weighted blanket. Running low on breast milk? These cookies will turn you into a milk factory. Like, obviously, I'm being a little facetious with some of these, but to be honest, most of these Facebook ads are literally what it felt like. It literally felt like you have to take in all of this, buy all of this stuff in order to do this right. And it just adds so much noise, so much fear and like anxiety and panic. And it teaches you that like you're not doing it right or you're not doing it well if you don't buy these things. And the truth is that Facebook ads are really good at like compelling you to buy this stuff. It has nothing to do with the reality of whether you should buy this stuff, if this thing is even good for you or healthy or smart or safe. And like what I've learned is you have to take these ads that come up, these Facebook ads or Instagram ads, or even people just talking to you, and literally click in your mind or on your app, hide this ad and don't let them keep popping up every single time you open your Facebook because it's just gets it's visual clutter, it's digital clutter, and it literally clutters your brain with noise. And I'm so passionate about taking the noise out of motherhood, quieting the noise, kind of just letting the noise go. And I think we forget that like the digital noise and the media that we consume contributes so much to like the noise inside our head. And it's so overwhelming for, I think, a new mother who doesn't know what she really needs.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, like there's definitely things that are going to be useful and helpful, but like you need to again have that filter and be able to kind of comprehend what's coming at you, but maybe more so if something comes up, then you look for it, but don't let things just come at you and then you think, "Oh my gosh, I need this," or like, "Oh, like you said what did you say? Like it's like, am I like not doing it right? Like, oh, I need this in order to do this better. Like, was I not doing it okay? There were so many things that I was either gifted or told that I would need that I don't think I even touched. Like there was like certain things that I really kind of valued on my own, but then there was so many other things that like one person said was super helpful and I found no use for it. So, I think it's just being
What was
able
it? I'm so curious.
oh my gosh, like what are
You
some
remember?
things? Like all those like silly, like I'm even trying to think of like more so like personal stuff, like not even like for baby, but like all the like wipe warmers and stuff like that, like all the like
Exactly.
unnecessary things. Like moms have existed for hundreds and hundreds of years without all of this stuff. Oh, we had like this little like bouncy rocker thing and it was like
Mhm.
nice and great and everything, but like Rosie didn't enjoy it all that often. So like and then she got too big for it once she started to like it. So I had like a rocker and a swing and a little um
bouncer.
bedside thing, and I mean
And it ends up taking over your whole entire house because you need all the little things, and then you're like, "Can I walk without tripping?"
right, and I just wanted to hold her most of the time, like, that's all
Yeah.
I wanted to do, like, I was like, "Why am I gonna put her down in her little bouncer when I can just hold her?"
Aw, I love holding little
I
babies.
know, but and then we had, like, the swaddle wraps and stuff, I really liked those,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that, like, what were some
Yeah, you should
specific
compile
things.
a list of things that
Yeah,
you loved and, like, things that you, like, totally did not need, you
yeah,
know? Because I do think that moms are so, like, inundated with all of this stuff, like, all the baby shower lists and the registries and, like, you need this and you need this and you also need this and you need this and, oh, and when the baby gets bigger, she's gonna need this next thing, and the truth be
right,
told is you really don't need 95% of that stuff, and you only need very few things by the time the baby is born, and I think it's best to meet your baby and then buy stuff because then you know what your baby needs and then
yeah,
you know what you need. Like, why are you going to spend hundreds or if not thousands of dollars on things that you don't even know if your baby's going to enjoy?
right. Yeah, funny story, I have 3 sisters and a brother, and, Rosie right now is very into cardboard boxes. And so my one sister knows this, and for Christmas, she no lie wrapped a cardboard box.
Oh, that is epic. I love
And
that.
and my brother got her an avocado.
It is so
I was
cute.
like,
See,
"Did you
those
really?"
are good gifts.
I was like I call him Bud, but, like, his name's Steven, and I was like, "Bud, did you really you got her an avocado?" And he's like, "Well, yeah."
Oh my
And
gosh.
but she
Does she
she sure enough, she
eat
sat.
avocado?
What?
Does she even eat them?
Yeah, she eats them, but, like, it was, like, a full on, like, still, like, in the shell? What is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
full on avocado, and so she was sitting in the cardboard box just playing with an avocado.
I love that because it makes for such fun memories, like, you're
It
not gonna forget that.
does, I know. I was it
So
was
much fun.
great, and I mean, like, she doesn't know any better, like, she's 16 months old, and so, like, that is, like, the highlight of her Christmas presents.
Yeah, and that totally reminds me of another topic, which is that, like, moms feel so pressured to spend money on their kids because it's like, well, they need to have a fancy birthday party, or they need to have, like, so many clothing, or, they need really, like, expensive toys, and the truth is the kids are little. Especially before they go to school or especially before they start to notice other people. Why are you spending so much money on things that are really, like, not important? And I think it's so much pressure. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, be my guest. But if things are tight financially or you just don't have the space for it or you don't want to, take the pressure off of yourself. You don't have to look at everybody and be like, well, they got, their daughter like a fancy something for her first birthday. I mean, that is beyond me how people spend hundreds of dollars on a first birthday. Like, I guess you're celebrating being a mother for a year? Like, what are you like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think that's what I've heard, like, a lot about, like, a lot of people are like, "Well, like, I had, like, a baby survive for a whole year, like, I wanna celebrate." And, like, I think it was kind of nice because of COVID this year that we had a very small, just, like, intimate birthday party, and, like, I enjoyed it. We had, like, a unicorn theme, but, like, that was, like, the extent of we got some cupcakes and stuck some of those plastic unicorn rings in it.
Yeah, that's fun. If it's fun and, like, if you wanna go all out and go
Right.
big and just, be my guest, but I think the pressure of
Yeah,
seeing all these
right. Don't feel like
dramatic
you have
things.
to. If you
Yeah,
want to, that's one thing, but, like, trying to keep up just because you think that's what everybody else is doing, it's so stressful.
exactly, exactly. Which kind of brings me to my next, thing, that I wish somebody would have told me, shaken me, and told me that I should not consult the internet for everything.
That's
Which is, like, so obvious because
a
everybody
good
knows this,
one.
but then the second you get pregnant, what do?
Google.
You go on Google, and what I'm telling you to do instead, all of you people listening, is call the people you trust. Your doctor, your midwife, your doula, your mother, your best friend, your nutritionist, whoever you trust. But don't consult Google because you probably don't have cancer, and that's all Google is going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like a real example. My sister, she is now 6, I think. My youngest sister is 6. And she was born with a very funny shaped eye pupil. So, you know, like the black part of your eye.
Yeah.
So her pupil, instead of being round, it's shaped like a tear shaped, like a like a teardrop.
Oh, that's
So
wild.
it looks a little bit like a cat eye, how it's like more elongated. And what did Dr. Google say? So I noticed it when she was like a few days old, but I didn't say anything to my mother because I knew my mother would freak out. So, like, my mother has what do you call it? Like hypochondriac.
Uh-huh.
My mother wrote the definition of well, she was the poster child for hypochondriac when they wrote the psychological textbook.
Oh.
Like mega. So I didn't tell my mother because I knew she would freak out. So a few days later, though, she kind of noticed on her own, and I had already looked on Google by the time my mother noticed. So what do you think Dr. Google said?
I don't
She
know.
might be blind.
Oh my goodness.
So when I told my mother that, yeah, I think you should take her to the doctor because I looked on Google and I think you should take her to the doctor.
Uh-huh.
So you could just imagine that if my mother had gone on Google, which my mother is totally like internet illiterate, so she wouldn't even know how. But imagine the panic and the fear if that was either my child. I mean, I had panic and fear with being my sister, but imagine if it was my child. The panic and the fear that comes with like, well, what if my daughter is blind? And then when my mother did find out that this was a possible outcome, she was like beside herself. Like she's like, how am I going to teach my daughter how to live in this world if she's blind? And how am I is she going to function? And she was beside herself.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out my sister's not blind and she's totally fine.
It's just a neat little defect in her eye.
So yeah, I mean, it's something that's called like an iris coloboma, and it's a kind of like a misformation of the eye when it's when she was forming in utero, and it doesn't come together. And for some people, this indicates retinal detachment and can cause blindness. So for some people on the one end of the spectrum, it could be an indication for blindness, but hers was very minor, and she's totally not blind.
Oh, that's wild. You're
So
gonna
it's
have
just
to
an
show me a
example.
picture of that.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture. But it just like shows you how, the internet is so I really feel like Google is so bad for mothers. It brings up such fear when fear isn't necessary.
Yeah. And even like I've found some of the mom groups and stuff, there's just so many people with so many different opinions that you ask one question and you get every single side of it. So you're
It's so
like,
overwhelming to interpret and to
it
process. And it's
is.
like,
And like you're
who do I
just
listen to? And
right. And you're just going there for support. You're just going there for some sort of guidance. And people are just like, that means this and this and that. Like, oh, it's so overwhelming. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely clearing
I was
out that.
just on a I was just on a like mom's group yesterday, and somebody posted a picture of their child's baby rash on their arm. It was like a little
Mhm.
pimple like rash. And somebody's like, one person is like, it's MRSA. The next person says, it's a staph infection. The next person like, it's a spider bite. And it's like, oh my goodness, just take her to the doctor, call,
Right.
call your mother, ask a friend,
Right.
and like,
Yeah,
it's just a lot.
there's too many opinions sometimes on those groups that it's just so overwhelming and like you just got to, have that small little team and like that small little group of people and like that's that's who you're going to go to
That's
for,
your people. Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
Cuz then yeah, then it just starts going every which way.
Yeah, totally. So let's see what else. the next thing that I love to talk about, which is not really talked about a whole lot, and it doesn't really fit into like any sort of picture, is the topic around body image, especially in motherhood. Because if I could give one piece of advice to a mom, it would be don't compare your body, whether during pregnancy or post pregnancy, to the bodies of others. And I heard this once and I've kind of like morphed it into my own. As a rule, don't compare bodies, babies, and husbands. Everybody's different, and comparing just makes liking them or loving yours harder than it may already be.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay not to love your body the way it is right now. Again, we're so, because we live in such like a connected universe with social media and internet and Facebook groups, we see so many people, right? We literally can see the pictures of hundreds of people every single day. And we know what our body looks like, and that's not what we see necessarily reflected in other people. And I think it's totally okay to say, like, I don't love my body right now. You don't have to like hate your body and you don't have to love your body. You can just say, I don't love it right now. And actually, after you give birth, you might not even recognize your body because you know how pregnancy is. You become massive sometimes.
I was so swollen,
Yeah.
so incredibly, and especially with a C-section, they, I don't know, pump you up with some stuff, and I had to stay in the bed, and they had what are they called? Like the pressure cuffs on my
Yeah.
calves,
Uh-huh.
and I just felt huge.
Yeah.
I
You feel
was so
huge, you look
puffy.
huge, and it comes to a point where you almost don't even recognize your own body, and there becomes this normal sort of body dysphoria where it's like, is this even my body? And will it
Mhm.
ever look the way I thought it did look again? You know? And grieving that like loss of your old body is like so normal and healthy, right? Like to say like I kind of miss my old body because pregnancy changes a woman's body for most people. Most people don't go to like a pre-pregnancy um, physique. Even if they go to a pre-pregnancy size, their hip shape changes. You know, their
Mhm.
proportions change a little bit. And I know for me, that's something that I really struggled with my even my first birth. I was very with my first pregnancy, I was very big. And then with my second pregnancy, it looked like my baby was falling out of my stomach because my abdominal muscles were so weak. I had diastasis recti. I don't know if you've heard of
Mm.
it. It's where
Yeah.
your abdominal wall separates a little bit, a lot of it. And um, my grandmother asked me if I was having twins. And when I told her no, she said, "Are you sure?" Like I was so big.
I had a similar situation. We were just out somewhere, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, "You look like my wife did when she was pregnant with our twins." And I was,
Oh my
I
goodness.
was like,
You just want to like
ugh.
yeah, you just want to like hide and like cover your face and like
Yeah. I said to him, "Nope, just one." And he was,
exactly.
I said, "You should tell your wife that you said that to somebody."
Exactly. Punishment for him. Tell on yourself to your wife. Exactly. That's good punishment. I like that.
Like, there's just
um
some things that you do not say to pregnant women that you don't say to moms, like, just
Yeah. And actually, like, if you look at my Instagram, literally, I've said this like so many times. It's never okay to ask someone if they're pregnant, when they're getting pregnant, or when they're having kids, or when they're having another kid. It is never okay. I cannot even tell you how many times people have asked me if I'm pregnant when I was not pregnant. People have asked me if I'm pregnant literally the day I was having a miscarriage. It is so inappropriate, painful, and just wrong. Like, hard rule, don't do it. Even if I look like I'm having a baby today.
like, I mean, maybe if it's, like, your close friend or something and you're kinda like, it looks like maybe something's different, like that's okay. Like I wouldn't be like as offended, but a completely random stranger or like someone that I don't see that often or what, like I would just be like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like a hard no. Like, don't ask me that question. When I have a baby, you'll find out that I was
Right.
pregnant.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
although I was very surprised when I was, like, obviously pregnant, like, at least to me, I seemed like, okay, you can totally tell that I'm pregnant. Some people would still kind of, like, be hesitant to kind of, like, ask. Like, I felt like, if I kind of like, when I was at work or something and I was, like, not around them as often or, like, I don't know, for whatever reason, and then, all of a sudden we were on a project together and they'd see me after a couple of months, and I obviously had grown. Like, I had to, like I would, like, rub my belly and, like, arch my back and, like, make it very obvious, like, "Yes, I'm pregnant, it's okay, we can talk about it."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on loving your bodies as they change, I think that I think it should be more normalized that like your bodies really change and it's normal to be sad about a body that you don't have anymore or that you wish you had. But I also want to be mindful to say that if this extends into like severe body dysmorphia, when you just don't feel like you're living in your own body or your body looks different than it actually does, or it becomes like obsessive, or you start eating a lot or eating not at all, definitely seek help, because as these things move from normal experiences sometimes into more like extreme experiences, that's the time that you say, I think I might want to talk to somebody. And it doesn't have to be a professional, it could just be a friend where you kind of bounce off that experience with. And it's like, do I need help? Do I not need help? But I, in general, think it's so normal to feel uncomfortable in your body. And I think that it has to be talked about, because you see so many people who are like either months or years after giving birth and they're like, what is this body? I hate it. I think it's because they've never really processed the transition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge, like you said, like, if you don't take time and process that transition period and really heal yourself in all aspects, I think it can linger on so much longer until it's gonna get brought up.
Yeah. Yeah. I see so many women who are like, they have their youngest is 5 years old, and then they're, larger than when they before they had children, and then they feel like this is not even who I am and I lost myself, and I feel like, no, you're really still right there and you're a beautiful person, but it's because they never took time to get familiar with their changing physical bodies that it's like it feels so foreign.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
So that's my rant about body image. And I think it kind of relates to another subject that I really like talking about, is that intimacy with your partner um, during pregnancy, but especially after birth, can be such a source of confusion, tension, and discomfort that you probably were not expecting. Like, I see so many people on these mom groups, which I should probably just like extract myself from, but I see so many, I'm going to evict myself from them. You, I see so many people saying, how soon after birth can I have sex? And it's like, can you slow down and just take a minute? Because it's so, I think birth really changes a relationship. And it could be so confusing when it doesn't just like, bounce back or snap back to the way it was. And then there's just tension and confusion. And I hear from so many of my actual friends who tell me that like they feel so disconnected from their partners after giving birth. And I want women to know, I want mothers to know that this is normal and it's really common. And the best thing you could do for your marriage is communicate your experience with your partner and maybe your doctor, because at the end of the day, communicating will save your day, because it's not about having sex or not having sex, right? It's about communicating what your experience is and what you're hopeful for and what you're sad about and what you were expecting and what you're disappointed about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and just keeping that communication open at all times.
Yeah, I'm like a big fan of communication. If there's anything that I've learned after 5 years in being in therapy, is that communication is really effective. Communication is really the make it or break it in going through any experience um, well, with like resilience and with, coming out of the conversation or coming out of the experience better is really dependent on the quality of communication. And the kind of mantra that I've been saying to myself over the past couple years as I've kind of been working on this intensely, especially in my marriage, is that um, the more articulated I can articulate my feelings and clearly communicate my needs, the better off I am as a person. So that's also something that I've been working on a lot is um, communication and articulating my feelings.
That's one thing that I said this year. I kind of want to focus on just kind of communicating more effectively, and kind of, because like you said, like I can talk too. Like I can talk my husband's ear off, like la da 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 da, like all day, every day. But I think being more exact with what you're saying and having more kind of purpose to your conversation, and really using that time to make something, I guess, worth it, is something that I really want to, like, not just chit chat to chit chat, but like actually talk for a purpose and a reason.
Yeah, I think so often, especially in marriages, we just like hold things back and we don't talk and we don't communicate and we like send these like passive aggressive like hints, like I'm totally pissed off. And then you save all that resentment for like days or weeks if you're superhero. And then you just blow your top. And however that comes out, whether it's with anger or with saying really mean things that you really had not intended to say, or breaking things or yelling at your kids, however that, you know, just going overboard comes out for you, it's really a result of not communicating your needs and your feelings when they came up in the first place.
Yeah.
And I always say, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. When you are not clear with your thoughts and you're not clear with your needs, especially with your partner, it's not you're not saving them anything. You're not saving yourself anything. It's not kind. And clearly communicating, like I'll tell my husband, like, I'm really feeling anxious or I'm really feeling frustrated that I have all this to do and I don't feel like I'm supported in this way. I really would appreciate it if you could wash the dishes, blah, 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 whatever it is. And it's like now he has something clearly articulated to respond to. And he can either say, sure, I'll do the dishes, or he'll say, I'm not doing the dishes. But whatever his response is, I can move on with my own decision,
Right.
right? Clarity for me is important too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's so important, not holding in those things and wondering like, "Oh, what are they going to say if I say this?" and just getting it out there for your own clarity and for your own um well-being. I think is something that we need to do more of. Like when something comes up, just express how you're feeling, because like you said, it's just like gonna continue to bottle up, and then one time it's just gonna explode, and they're like, where is this coming from? So
Yeah.
if
Yeah, I think men like don't really read the lines as like in between the lines as much as we hope they would. They don't pick up on the details. They don't pick up on the nuances. They don't pick up that you're freaking angry until they're like, I think you're upset. And you're like, duh.
you think no.
Exactly. You're like, you think I'm upset? Why do you think I'm upset? And they're like, I don't know. Did something happen?
I feel like that could
So,
be a whole other episode.
exactly. And I could talk about that for like a year. So,
But we love them, right?
yes, exactly. I always say marriage is hard. You might as well do it with someone you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a whole nother topic that I feel like people don't talk about enough.
That's
You know?
awesome.
But so yeah, that's pretty much mostly everything that I kind of thought would be really fun to share with people about like what I wish people would have told me about birth or pregnancy or, having a new baby. Just kind of things that I wasn't expecting to experience and I just had to process in a new way that I didn't know. And I would love for someone else to be like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, I understand that too.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. What do you think are some things that you found to help, like in those moments? Like you said, there's some mantras that you got going on and just like different things that you like say and do. Do you have any other kind of like known things that you have found to be helpful in motherhood? Or how did you come about creating a mantra?
So, the mantras that I create are really fueled from how I want to feel or how I want to act in a given situation. So, for example, like let's say my daughter is like she's like throwing a tantrum. My daughter throws these really intense tantrums, and it's like, how do I want to act? Not how am I acting. So, how do I want to act? I want to act with patience and I want to be calm and grounded. So, a mantra that I'll say in my head is, lead with compassion, lead with kindness. And it kind of sets the focus for my actions to be grounded, to be compassionate, to kind of change my focus from one of like frustration and irritability to one of loving and kindness. And it's actually the same mantra that I use in regards to my husband: lead with compassion, right? I do believe that as a mother, you're a leader. You're a leader in your home for your husband, for your kids, whether or not your husband is a leader too. You can both be leaders, right? And when going into a conversation, I always want to lead with compassion. I don't want to lead with criticism. I don't want to lead with frustration. I want to lead with compassion. So that's always a mantra that I'm repeating to myself. Um, Another thing that I tell myself is I'm not broken and this is normal. So whether that's experiencing postpartum depression, experiencing anger, experiencing exhaustion, I think it's so easy to feel broken. Like I'm doing something wrong. I am wrong. This is not working for me. I don't do this right. It's so easy to feel broken. But to remind myself, I'm not broken and this is normal and I'm okay and I can ask for help. That's another thing that I wish people would have told me is please ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to know what you need if you don't tell them. They might guess and send you meals for 2 weeks, but they're not going to know anything else. You have to tell your spouse what you need help with. He's not going to know, for sure not. He's a brand new dad too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, kind of like talking myself through these experiences, um, it's okay to ask for help. I can ask for help. Are like kind of the mantras or the themes that I tell myself to get through these experiences well.
That's great. So, like somebody that is looking to create a mantra in their own life, I think, like you said, finding how do you want to feel and then starting from there is such a great way. And then once you know, oh, I want to feel like this the next time this situation comes up or whenever something is going to arise, then you can use that mantra to help you get through that situation. So I think that's definitely really helpful.
Exactly. Like I just remember, when babies are so little, sometimes they just cry for such a long time and you feel so frustrated, you feel so helpless and kind of thinking like, well, how do I want to feel in this moment? I want to feel safe because when our babies are crying, sometimes we feel like something is wrong, right? And like the anxiety, spikes, and we start to feel unsafe in our own environment, right? Because our babies are just screaming. And so, leading with a mantra like, I am safe and my baby is safe and we're going to be okay is so soothing to your psyche. It's so soothing to your experience when sometimes you feel so out of control, just to like remind yourself, I'm safe and my baby's safe.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome one. I think that's something that definitely would have helped me. I definitely, anxiety would spike when things happened, and I felt so out of control for this little tiny life that like I now was completely responsible for. And so I think having that little phrase of I am safe and my baby is safe, and just kind of like reiterating that. And now I think what I've learned is I kind of just express that I'm uncomfortable with a situation and let it out there. Like before, I would see somebody kind of holding her wrong or doing something that I wasn't necessarily okay with. And I would just kind of, again, bottle it up and internally freak out and kind of like,
Yeah, you would just like swallow it.
yeah. And now I'm like, you know what? No, this bothers me. I'm going to say it politely, but I'm going to acknowledge that it's there and it's present and be like, hey, this is kind of annoying me. Or I say, like, okay, like, mommy's like anxiety is getting really high right now. And like,
Yeah, exactly.
just letting that person know that you feel uncomfortable, or kind of reiterating again, like, this is my child. And like, that's not something that I necessarily feel okay with. And that's perfectly okay to do as a mom. Like, you have every right to let somebody know that this is not their child, and you guys have a certain routine and a certain way of doing things that might be different than how they're doing things. So,
Exactly. I think it also, some of the other things that I wrote down that I didn't share, um, one of them was that like no is a complete sentence. And so often people ask us, like, why are we doing something? Or why didn't you do this? Or why can't we come here? Are you doing this? And I think that giving like simple, complete answers, like in very succinct ways, are the best ways to answer these questions. Like, um, are why aren't you letting? Because we decided this is best for us. Or I would appreciate it if you would do blah, 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 blah. Why? Because that's what we decided is best for us. We thought about it. We appreciate your concern. And this is what we came up with. We don't really want to discuss it anymore. Like, really succinct, pre-planned answers can be really helpful, because so often when we have these new babies and everybody's like giving us their opinions and asking us all these questions, and why did we choose this and why did we not choose this, and why did you have a c-section, and don't you know that unmedicated labor is like way better for your baby, and don't you know that like there's like you're not going to latch as well if you have a c-section, and it's like, slow down.
yeah, that was like something that I had heard too, like, oh, like if you have a C-section, it's harder to breastfeed. And it's like we stayed on for a year, and then even more so. And the only reason that we had stopped is because I was kind of, okay, we've made it a year and I feel comfortable stopping now. Like, I would like my body back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so often people say like, oh, you the problem is that everybody has an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's the problem. So you stop, breastfeeding your baby at a year. Why did you go that long? Or why didn't you go for longer?
Right.
It's like you can't when we're so I learned this from Brene Brown. Have you heard of her?
Yeah.
Okay, love her. And I learned this from her. She said, take a sticky note, so like a 3x3 post it note, and on it, this is something that I talk about over in my business. On it, write down the names of everybody who you trust or invite their opinion. And if their name is not on that paper, when they give you their opinion, just toss it right out. You don't even have to let it enter your energy bubble. I always envision myself, especially in times when I feel like I'm at like a lower threshold or a lower capacity to deal with stuff. I imagine myself having this like bubble around me. And if there's not something that I feel like I want to entertain or handle, or I just don't have the capacity, I just envision it not entering my bubble, and it just won't enter. And so if their name is not on that opinion list, Mind you, she chose a 3 by 3 post-it note for a reason. You can't fit that many names on it. Um, if their name is not on that list, their opinion doesn't get to matter to you. I think so often we have all these opinions from the cousins and the uncles and the parents and the in-laws and the step-in-laws and the step siblings and the friends and the Facebook groups and the everything, and it's just so many people having an opinion about what's good for you.
Yeah.
And I just say you can't get in my bubble.
You can't get in my bubble. I
Exactly.
love that.
That's another way that I kind of, yeah, like don't let certain things come in, is I literally envision a bubble. Like people have such negative energy, and energy, like I'm a highly sensitive person. I don't know if you've ever heard of like an HSP,
Mm-mm.
highly sensitive person.
Okay.
Um, it's basically describes a personality type where a person is a deeply feeling and thinking person. So it
Okay.
doesn't mean they're sensitive in like they're very sensitive to being their feelings hurt. It means that they experience things very deeply, both physical and like emotional things. It also means that they're probably very empathetic, and they're very responsive to like people's energies, which is like when somebody has like a bad energy or like is very negative and they're in a bad mood, it's so easy to absorb that. And so I have to be so mindful, especially as a mom, because I feel like my threshold has become really small, right? To like be able to like buffer this stuff. I have to be so careful about the energy that I let in and all these like other voices and noise and people telling me what I should be and shouldn't be and think. I have to not like accept that into my bubble.
Yeah, that's great.
It just bounces right off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like recognizing that and then wanting to be in that bubble and creating that bubble, spending time to form that bubble is so important.
Exactly. I love how you said like forming your bubble. Like it could be like a beautiful process. Like it's
Yeah.
your bubble.
Right. You have to form it. We'll all create little bubbles.
Yes.
And I think that's something that, we as moms have to do, or else it's just gonna pop all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you don't create that like sacred, intimate space for you and what you hold close, then everything just comes in and you can't even differentiate from like lovely experiences and negative experiences because everything just feels overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh, this has been so amazing. I can't believe we've already been talking for about an hour.
I know. It's so much easier. I told you, you're so easy to talk
You
to.
are. No, this has
Thank
been
you so
great.
much.
Like I feel like I have gained so much information about you and just, things that you wish that you knew and things that we can all learn from and relate to. So, this was absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed being here and having this conversation with you, and this was so much fun.
Yeah. So tell us like how we can get in touch with you or more about the business that you have and how we can reach you and
So, my favorite thing in the whole universe is talking to people in my DMs, on Voxer, on social media. It's just like my absolute favorite thing. It lights me up. I look forward to it every day. And I love that my community on social media is just so like connected and active. So on Instagram, my handle is at Toby Pollack underscore, and you can find me there and just send me a DM because I just love connecting with all of you. And my Voxer handle, I know people usually like don't just give out their Voxer handle, but if I could buy stock in Voxer, I would, because it's my absolute favorite way to connect with people. I think there's so much power in just talking to people. And if you don't know, Voxer is like a walkie-talkie app. So it's basically like an app where you just like press the walkie-talkie button, you talk, and then the next person gets the message. And then when they have a chance to listen to it, they can listen to it and they can respond back. And I think it's such a good space because it's almost like you know that when the person has a chance, they're going to read the message or listen to the message. So you're never like worried that someone's going to interrupt you. So it's just like a really safe space to be yourself because no one's interrupting you while you're talking. And you can talk or text. So my Voxer handle is at Toby Pollack. And I would love if you and your audience just reach out for any support, whether it's with motherhood or marriage or mental wellness. Like I said, I'm a psych nurse. I'm very aware and have a lot of knowledge around mental illness. I'm not a doctor. I can't give advice, but I know a lot of resources, a lot of information. I love talking about motherhood. I love talking about marriage and babies and all things in that genre. I love talking about body image, like I discussed. So I would love to talk to all of you on Instagram and Voxer. That's kind of where you can find me at this point.
I love it. That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you just again so much for being here and sharing all of your lovely words of advice and your mantras. I think I need to create some of my own.
I
That will be
can't wait to
something
hear what
I'll
you
work on.
create.
I
I hope you share
know.
them with everybody.
I know. I'll have to think about it. It will probably come up when there's like a situation and I'm like, you know what? I could really use a mantra for this.
Definitely. All of mine came out of situations. It's hard to
Yeah.
predict when you'll need them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really so much enjoyed this.
Well, this wraps up yet another episode of Entering Motherhood. I hope that you have found this episode helpful, and if you liked it, please share it with others who might also benefit from this information. If there's anything that you'd like to know more about, or maybe you know someone who'd like to be on the show, please visit my website, enteringmotherhood.com. I'm so thrilled to be going on this journey with you and getting the amazing opportunity to help moms during this postpartum experience.